type into the chat where you're from and the last type of paper that you touched. And please mute yourself. Every time I get muted when we do a mute all, so that's a little frustrating. All right. Thanks for showing up, everyone. It's a beautiful day here, sunny day in Colorado. Please mute yourself if you're just joining us. And we're going to get started here. This will be an hour at the most. So just one more time, I'm going to start. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Helen. It's great to have you all here. And we're typing into the chat where we're from and what the last piece of paper, what kind of paper was the last piece of paper that you touched. And let's keep yourself muted. We have a large group here today. That'll just help with everything. Thank you. Okay, so I just want to tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the paper year, my membership program, and then we're going to make this butterfly book. I hope you all brought a pretty sheet of paper to make your butterfly with. And then I'm going to show you a few projects that are coming up in the paper year. Oh, I saw a pretty marbled paper up there. And then we'll wrap up and maybe we'll do a little showing, all of us, of our butterflies. So the screen will be filled with butterflies, but I also want you to tag me on Instagram and share your butterfly there if you would. And I'm Helen Hebert on Instagram. So if you have questions at any time, just type them into the chat. I have Lori here helping me out. She'll be monitoring that. And just keep yourself muted, please. And we are recording this, so you will receive the replay. We also have several links, things that I'll mention, how to register for the paper year, different supplies and resources. Those are going to be dropped into the chat several times, and I'll send, well, I'm not sure if I can send those to you. You should copy and paste them. Yeah, I'll send you an email, so you'll probably get them, but I'm not sure. Okay, so, all right, I'm going to get started. I'm going to share my screen. Yes.
With this large of a group, I think if everyone turns off their video, that will help with the not freezing and stuff.
Okay, good idea. So can you all turn your videos off? That'll help us have a better bandwidth presentation. Okay. Okay, let me share my screen here. Okay. Again, welcome if you're just joining us. I'm going to do a quick PowerPoint here. And if you're just joining us, I've asked you to type into the chat where you're from and what was the last kind of paper you touched. There's so many papers out there. It'd be fun to see that. And this is a variation on the butterfly book. Here's another one. I have a few to show you at the end too. So I just want to tell you a little bit about myself, if you don't know me. I got interested in paper back in 1988 when I spent my junior year abroad in Germany. And I took a class called paper. And I soon discovered the work of Masahiro Chatani, which some of you might know, and his books on origami architecture. And I started making pieces like you see here that I made for my thesis show at the University of the South in Tennessee to finish out my college experience. And I really, my eyes were open to the idea of paper as a material, which is still something I'm fascinated with today. After college, I moved to New York City and I worked in the printing and graphic design world for 5 years. And a brief trip to Japan rekindled my interest in paper. And I decided I wanted to learn how to make paper. and I discovered Dieudonné Paper Mill right in New York City where I was living. And this is where I learned all about making paper by hand, and I began to explore paper and light, which is something I'm really interested in too. And so, fast forward many years, I'm still exploring paper as a material, and I started this program called the Paper Year. Um, I love designing with paper and sharing ideas for transforming it from 2 into 3 dimensions. And this is a membership program that started at the beginning of the year, and I'm opening it for enrollment 4 times a year. So this is one of those times. And it's so much more about, well, we do a monthly project and a new technique every month, but it's really so much more than that. In addition to gaining skills for working with paper and other materials, you'll become part of our paper loving community. And I am really inspired by what happens online in the classroom each month, and I know you will be too. So I just want to show you what we've done the past couple of months. We started with a sculpted paper weaving project. So we learned a little bit about paper weaving and ways to shape sheets of paper to make different vessels. Here you see some examples of people's projects they made in the paper year. And then in February, we did a paper cloth pocketbook. I'm really interested in attachments and connections too. So this had a magnetic closure, but you can see some people did other types of closures, bands. You don't see here, but Velcro was another one, a little belt. And then we did this matchbook structure in March, and I have a guest artist every quarter. So Susan Joy Scher was our guest artist in March, and she came up with this matchbook project. And this is the PDF. So everyone in the paper year gets a PDF that looks like this. And there are 2 ways to join the paper year. So the PDF plan, you just get the PDF. And then the all-in plan includes video instructions and access to a community where we share our work, ask questions, and we also have a monthly Zoom meeting, kind of like this. The PDF plan is $10 a month, and the all-in plan is $30 a month. And we're putting the link in the chat. There are a bunch of links that will be in the chat where you can find out more. This program, you can cancel at any time. You can change which membership level you have. And if you join now, you get access to the library to make the projects that we've already made. So that's just an ongoing thing that keeps growing the library. And I just wanted to share a couple of testimonials and point out what people have thought of the paper year. So Liz got her creative juices flowing. She talked about how I am attentive in the classroom and a cheerleader. Yay, I love cheering people on. And she liked that she could go back and watch the video tutorials. So it's not live. The videos are pre-recorded, so you can watch them at any time and go back if something's tricky. And then Deborah really speaks to what I love about paper, the different ways that it can be used. So becoming acquainted each month with papers, fasteners, and different techniques. And she also commented that I have good things to say about your projects, but so do the members. And this is such an important part of the all-in plan, is that you will get nice comments from members, and you can ask questions, and it's a great little community. And she points out also that it's important to share what you've done, because that helps with the motivation to do the projects. And that, I really second that. The more you share, the more you get out of this program. So that's the paper year in a nutshell. And I invite you to transform paper and more by joining us. And we'll do that now by creating a butterfly book. So let me stop sharing. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple of things here just before we get started. You know, I'm a paper nut, which probably most of you are. So I wanted to show you some papers. Part of the paper year, I'm putting together curated paper collection every quarter. So the next one will be available on May 1st. And I'm having a lot of fun sourcing papers from around the world. So I just wanted to show you a partial selection of the papers that will be in the next curated paper collection. And Paper Year members get first dibs. I put together 100 sets. I sold out of the January. So, and then it goes on sale if I have any left to others. So far I've always put in one little sort of paper trinket. So this time everyone will get a roll of washi tape. They're all different. This one has a grid printed on it. And then this is a cattail paper mixed with some abaca. And if you purchase the collection, and even, I mean, all the information about the maker and where you can get more if these are available will be part of the package. I always include one of my papers. I haven't decided for sure, but it'll probably be a sheet of translucent abaca. And then this is an exquisite thin paper but very different than my abaca. You don't hear that rattle. This is from Vietnam. You can kind of see the lines of the mold this was created on. Very beautiful. There'll be a marbled paper. They're all different from a Iris Nevins, a well-known marbler. And this is banana paper from green banana paper in Micronesia. And then this is a Nepalese paper that is silk screen printed. So you can see the back and the front. So again, there'll be information about all of those when that collection is available. And also I'm going to include a piece of Madeline Durham's gorgeous paste paper in the next collection. So here's my butterfly flying away. And the reason some of you might wonder why I call this the butterfly book, it's because I see these as book pages in the middle, but then as they progress outwards, they turn into the wings of a butterfly. So one more paper. I'm going to, yes.
Helen, I
Yes.
want to interject.
Yes.
Somebody messaged that their screen has gone black. For anybody else that has trouble viewing Helen's screen, you should be, first of all, you should be on speaker view. But secondly, if you just literally can't see her, the best thing is to log out and log back in again. That's going to be the simplest, fastest way to do it. Somebody else had a question about the size of papers in the collection.
Okay, yeah, the size of the papers they just vary, but they're about 12 by 18. My sheet was 12 by 18 up to 13 by 19. Some of them I'm getting larger sheets and cutting them down to make it affordable. The collection will be about $75. And sometimes there's a small sheet. So it's there's no standard size. And they're about 10 to 12 sheets in each collection. Okay, anything else?
That's it for right
Okay.
now.
All right, I'm going to use this double-sided paper. I just wanted to show you. The link to this book is in the chat, but this is a fun book. Lotte Jansdotter is a surface designer, and this is just filled with different patterns and these are papers that you can use. And then there are also some stickers and cards and just different things. This is postcards, just a fun book. And again, it's the link is in the chat.
One thing, Helen,
Yep.
it's not actually a link, it's just the name of the book.
Okay, that's right. That's right, because
Yeah.
the link was a huge long Amazon link. That's why I didn't put it. So yeah, the name
But
of the
it's
book,
available.
you Google it and it's available. And she's got a neat website too.
Also, is the curated collection available outside of the US?
Yes. Yeah, I'll ship anywhere. It's just going to cost more for shipping. Yes. Okay. So, so I've got a sheet out of that book, and I just wanted to show you the template again, which you printed out, hopefully, is this size, but I love to always show options and variations. So you can scale that template. You can make it smaller and larger. So, feel free to play around with it. This project is fairly simple. I did mention somewhere that you could make this out of copy paper, but you need a second sheet of copy paper if you're going to do that. The template is not in the right orientation to be able to use this actual template as the project. So I hope that makes sense. You have to fold the sheet in half because we're going to make another butterfly over here, another half of it. So you can see it's not quite big enough. So grab another sheet if you're just making it out of copy paper. And so this paper I'm using is a text weight, but this was made out of Arches, which is a little heavier. And really any weight paper will work. Just a heavier paper is going to be harder to cut. It's going to be harder to cut through. And the way I like to do this is to put my template on top of my paper and cut through the layers together. So we need to fold our sheet of paper that we're making this out of in half. So if you have an 8.5 by 11, which is what I told you, you're going to fold it this way. Not the template, but your project paper. And so you see this will fit my butterfly. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab my ruler. So I'm not sure I said to bring a ruler because you don't need it, except I'm just going to cut this. You could use scissors. So I just want that edge straight, and that is going to be placed on my fold. So here I have my folded sheet. And now I'm going to center this. So I'm just eyeballing it. No, it doesn't matter, actually. We're cutting this out. So it doesn't matter how it's placed on there. So, but again, it's really important you have the fold on this edge. Okay. So you just want to make sure that butterfly is on top of your paper. It's not sticking out over the edge or something. And this would be one place you could use scissors. After this, you really have to have a knife. So I'm going to just cut around the outer outline. So I'm cutting through, and don't worry too much if you go outside of the lines. Everybody's butterfly can be a little different. I'm cutting through 3 layers. That's why I printed this on just copy paper. You could obviously print it on cardstock and trace around it, but it gets a little complicated with these inner lines. but that's a possibility. You'd actually almost make the project first out of the template, and then you'd lift the pieces and trace them. So do we have any questions so far? Everybody doing okay? At the bottom, there's a reactions. You could click on that and give me a thumbs up if you are done with this step. Okay. Sometimes you have to cut multiple times to get through the papers. Yes?
It's okay.
Okay.
I'm just, the thumbs up is going to be hard because there's a lot of people here.
Okay. Well, I see a few people have clicked it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have the template. Was it sent ahead of time? Because I never received it.
It was a link. Yeah. There was a link. The
Oh.
link is in the, when you registered, there was information about that, but it's also in the chat right now.
Okay,
Yes.
So
sorry
you
about
can
that.
get it. That's okay. Okay, so here's what I've got. So now, if you have tape handy, you might want to tape this so everything stays together. Again, that's something I forgot to put on. And I want to point out something that I'm seeing here. So in general, we're cutting along the solid lines and we're folding on the dashed lines, but not here. Okay, these are supposed to be dashed, not solid. So we are folding here, we are not cutting. So just don't make that mistake. That's a fold line. So many things. Actually, I think I maybe have a different template. I think it's on yours. It might be correct. I don't know. All right. So now I'm going to just cut all of these lines. So it's like a, you know, I don't know what you call it, the page of the book. I'm cutting the pages. You can start in the center or on the outside. You can cut, maybe I'm going to actually cut, because I'm right-handed, I'm going to cut all of these shapes. So everything that is just comfortable to cut in this position. And then I'm going to rotate my piece. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to hold that carefully and rotate it. Or you can rotate your whole cutting mat. Mine's not going to rotate so well in the space I'm working in. And now I will cut all of these. So here's where you want to stop right where the line ends. And this will help with the folding. So again, I've got 4 lines. And then I've got 4 more over here, and this was comfortable just to leave in the same position. I can feel, I have got a really sharp blade and I can feel that I'm cutting through to the cutting mat, but sometimes you do have to go over your cuts a couple of times to get through all of those layers. Okay. So I will just hang out a second and wait to see for you guys to catch up, and let me know if you have any questions. Yolanda is loving this. Yay. Okay, cool. Jory is cutting it freeform because she doesn't have a printer to print the template out. Wonderful. See, this is what I love. I love ingenuity. You figure out how to do it and make it your own. I want to look back. I'll just give you a couple more minutes. We're doing really good on time. So I want to see what kinds of papers people were using. Oh, Texoprint. Yeah, you have a comment?
There are two questions.
Okay.
Gina wants to know, how does the variation of the butterfly you showed at the beginning differ from this one?
I'll show you at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I'm interested in this as well. Leslie wants to know if at the very end you can talk about your method of storing scraps of paper. I think that's a wonderful question because my life is getting overwhelmed with scraps that I can't bear to part with.
Yeah, let me just mention that now because I think some people are still cutting. So I keep scraps of paper like this in some plastic boxes of different sizes, maybe a 9 by 12 inch, and I just put them all in there. And I'm not so good at using my scraps, so I often put them together into collage packs and sell them. But if I need a small piece of something, it's ready to use. And this reminds me, there's some links of how you can connect with me in the links we're putting in the chat. And one of them is my Facebook group, the Paper Studio. We were just talking about how to store paper. So a lot of people use flat files. There are all of those. There are all of these plastic bins, and the plastic bins with drawers. They're nice that you can see through them. You can kind of see for 8.5 by 11 sheets. A stacking system works nicely. I have one of those, and I have flat files too. And then I've seen people use like pants hangers, those hangers with the clips on them, to hang groupings of papers, because then you can just have one kind of paper or different kinds, and you can hang them vertically in your closet instead of clothes or with your clothes, or maybe you have a closet in your studio. Yeah. Someone says she uses Ziplocs. Marilyn's asking, is it possible to say if a particular project needs double-sided paper? Well, I'm not sure exactly what you're asking, but this project could use double-sided paper or not. This will have a pattern on both sides. And so I think double-sided is fun, but in keeping with the book theme, if you wanted to add some text, I think the back of this would be a fun place to add text, a poem about a butterfly or whatever, and it could go different ways. It could go around the perimeter. It could go across. So with this particular project, I think it's versatile. In the paper year, I do try to address that if I think a double-sided paper is appropriate. Oh, Jan says she throws all of her scraps into a blender to make paper. That's a great idea too. Okay, so I'm going to move on. So now, if you just look at my model, let me move all these things out of the way. So I have this fold. On the center is a valley fold. So this looks like a valley as opposed to a mountain peak. So this will be my front. So if yours is the opposite, you folded it the opposite way, just reverse the fold the other way so that you have a valley on the front of your project paper. So now I'm going to keep this folded in half. And I've got this stagger. So let's just look at both of these. So you can see how these stagger. So we're going to start with the larger wing, the outer wing. And now you're going to see I have a few spots where my cutting didn't quite go through. And I'm just going to do one side at a time. And then I'll use that side as a blueprint for the other. So I'm going to take that and fold that back. Now, if you cut accurately, these folds should be parallel, these little folds. So you can go back and fix them and change them though. And it doesn't really matter. It'll just be a little more organic. So the next one, see how that's it's staggered. So it's a little, it comes up a little further. And then the third and the fourth. And then if you look at your template, don't fold this one right to where it is. This just has to be a little, you're actually going to fold a little bit higher. So these are all maybe 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to fold this. In other words, I'm not folding it so that it fits right in there. I'm folding it a little bit further so that I have a little gap. So that's my first side. And then you can flip it over and you can use what you've already folded as a guide. So now I can fold this and line it up with the one I already folded so that it's the same. And down here too, I can see where the one underneath is. So I can kind of just pre-crease that, fold it. And then my final. And so there's my new butterfly. I think it'd be fun just to put a message right here too, just on the book part. All right, how are we doing? I'm just going to talk about a few variations because I think there are lots of variations. You could take just the stagger, you know, in the original template and make any shape off of that. So you could do a heart, a circle, a square, rectangle, anything that is symmetrical, but you could be asymmetrical too because you got two sides. So you wouldn't be able to cut them at the same time like we did, but you could flip this over and do a different pattern on the other side. So I don't know what that would be, like the back of a head and the front of a head, like a profile, something like that. So, and then I think this would be fun to hang as a mobile. It's got some sort of fluttering action. Um, and then I want to show you the other samples that I showed at the beginning in the slides. So here are a couple other versions. So this one, this is more like a card, although this is a very thin paper, so it's not really the right paper. I cut it out and then I thought, oh, that would be interesting. Um, so I folded this one the other way. I've got a mountain in the middle. So, you know, once you make something, you can just play around with it. That's something I love about working with paper. Um, it's so abundant and inexpensive that you can make lots of models. So I find that I work better making a model, and then it gives me ideas for other ways to work with with the model. So this could stand up. I had a picture that looked better than the way I'm able to stand this up. But so you have this nice negative space. You could back this with another paper too, so that would. Um, let me see. Let me grab something. One of these papers. This isn't the paper I would use, but if I backed that after I cut it out, so then you see the negative shape of the butterfly, and then you have the fluttery wings. So that's another idea.
Helen,
Yeah.
there's a question about stiffening the paper after it has been folded. Is it possible?
With this design, I wouldn't recommend it. I would stiffen it before if you were going to stiffen it. And I mean, stiffening paper, you could paint it with something like gel medium. There are all kinds of golden products. They make the gel medium. I think it's better probably just to start with a paper, make a model and see, oh, that's not the right thickness. This is the value of making a model, is you start to realize the properties of the paper that you need for the particular project. So starch, different kinds of starches work for stiffening. But it would be messy with all these pieces and parts. Not impossible. You would also be adding an element of moisture, which might do something. So here's another idea. This is the same. I did the mountain fold, but you know, I didn't even try the valley fold. So that would be something to experiment with. And then I just, I talked about this earlier, but some of you might not have been here. You can scale the template up or down. So this is about 50%. And I just did 3 times my, whatever it was, 3.5 inches, I think. So this still fits on an 8.5 by 11. So 3.5, 3.5, and then I've got another fold here and a seam so that I could make this into perhaps a lantern. Again, I could line that inside with something translucent, so I sort of would not have a big hole here, but you'd still see the shape. Or it could just be a sculpture that stands up. So this is how it would look on the top. I would just use tape, double-sided tape or glue to attach that. And that's just another idea. So I'm sure there are many other ideas you all would have. And again, if you do this and make something, please post on Instagram and tag me, Helen Hebert. Okay, so now I want to, I'm going to show you a few projects that we're making throughout the paper year. I already showed you what we have made. Now I'll show you, not in any particular order. And by the way, you can join now through April 10th and then quarterly. So it'll open again in July and October. And all of this information is at the link. So this is what we're making this month, is a collapsible collage sculpture. So this is just the basic idea. And there's so many variations you could do with this. You could, if this was longer, you can twist it into the round. You can use different kinds of armature. This has a reed inside. You could illuminate it. The sky's the limit. Later in the year, we're going to make a kind of a shoji panel. So a shadow structure. It's hard for me to show you here, but in one direction, the shadow, you can kind of see, the shadow is cast from the cutout. And then on the other side, you see the cutout. And this has a very cool hinge. Some of you have done this with me for other projects, that flexes in both directions. This has tons of applications in the book arts. One of our guest artists in October, because this is Halloweeny, is Sean Sheehy. And he's going to show us how to make this pop-up skull. And another guest artist is Paula Krieg, and we'll be making a wallpaper book using this fold. It's one fold, but you can assemble and make variations on these folds. And you see how cool this book is. There's lots of different ways you can bind it, and there's lots of pockets, and this is wallpaper, which is really fun. You could make it in any paper. So that's something we talk about, is the paper properties and what kinds of papers work well. And yeah, just explore paper as a material. We're also going to do this crisscross accordion structure. I'm calling this architectural row because this unfolds into a little village. And with the project like this, I supply a template, and but then I talk about variations. And this one's fun because you can assemble these in different ways, and you can add multiple. You can just keep adding forever. You could have 100 of these, and you connect them, and they collapse flat, which I love. Here's another variation of that. Some of you have made this in one of my classes, flexible book structures. So you can punch holes, and you could put tea lights inside. And again, this can fold up in different ways. So this could be a star form. And just imagine if you had more of these, what you could do. And it's so compact. That's another thing I love. Well, two things: collapsible structures, and things you can make from one sheet of paper. So a lot of these are one sheet of paper. Some are more. This doesn't do it justice for me to show you it like this, but there's a picture on the website. And so this is sort of like patchwork and connected with staples, which I think is really fun. But you could connect this in many multiple ways. And this is designed to maybe hang in a window to catch the light. And then I've got two more. Oh, and I just remembered, I forgot my battery is not working. So you're gonna have to watch the video on the website. I meant to get a new battery. So this is a card by another guest artist, Alyssa Campbell, and we'll do some paper electronics. And so the lighthouse has a little light that changes colors, but I forgot to find my battery. And then we'll do a book structure. So this is run through the sewing machine, but we'll talk about all different kinds of bindings. And it's got an accordion, partly to make it so you can run it through the sewing machine, but it also allows for different ways of displaying it. And then each signature, so there's pages you can write on, is just covered with a different kind of paper. So we'll explore that as well. So that's what's coming up in the paper year. And that's all I had to share with you. So I would love to answer any questions.
There are a few questions in the chat.
Yep.
The most recent one is, can you sign up for one of the projects?
You can. You would have to keep up. You can put me on my face now, I think. And we'll go back if anybody has something I want them to show. You would have to pay attention to what project is coming up. And there's the purple graphic on the paper year webpage, and they're in order, horizontally and then vertically, the 12 projects. So you would have to, be alert to which month you want to join, and you can email me. I can tell you what date to sign up. So you would sign up and then cancel. That'd be pretty easy. You can cancel right after you sign up, and it'll just cancel you it'll cancel your subscription, and then you won't receive the next one.
There was a question about gluing the center spine. I answered it and said that you, in your samples in your demo, you did not, but that it could be glued.
Right. That's
So-
right. Yeah, I did not, but you certainly could. Yeah. Yeah, that's another variation.
Question about, are the videos recorded? So if you can't attend at the exact time.
Yeah. Yes, the videos are all pre-recorded, so the classes are not live at all. The first Monday of every month, so that's today. The April project has just been uploaded in the classroom. Everything is there, the PDF, the video. This month there's an extra video, and any templates. It's available anytime for you to go back and watch anytime you want. And then we have a monthly Zoom meeting in the All-In plan on the second Saturday, alternating second Thursday and second Saturday, where we get together. I show some variations, we do some sharing and questions, and that's recorded also. So if it's not at a convenient time, you can watch it later.
Somebody was asking if you have any tips on controlling your X-Acto knife so that it cuts where you want.
I have a video on YouTube about cutting with an X-Acto knife. You might want to look at that. Yeah, it takes practice. I've been doing it for years and years, so I've kind of gotten used to it. It's like a second appendage. But just being deliberate, and like I don't know if you noticed when I was cutting at a corner, I start at one corner and go down, and then I'll go back to that corner and go down the other way. So there are some tips and tricks, and cutting through multiple layers is a little trickier. So I'm sure there are lots of other YouTubes about cutting with an X-Acto knife that you might find helpful. Okay.
There's a question about coloring plain washi paper.
Oh, there's so many surface design techniques. I am not really a surface design person, but a lot of people in the paper year are. So you see their beautiful papers showing up in their projects, from jelly printing to marbling, paste papers, um, just coloring washi. Like you can just do applications of watercolor, or there's some traditional techniques. Kakishibu is a persimmon, fermented persimmon juice that actually waterproofs the paper and makes it like a golden brown color. Indigo is a popular color in Japan that is used for coloring paper. And there are people that teach natural dyeing. That's a big thing right now. India Flint, Radha Pandey. Um, there's so much about their books about that. Yeah.
So Helen,
Mhm.
Linda Tanaka is asking if she loves the butterfly, but is there a use or are these all sculptures? And before you answer that, as I'm watching you do that, I'm reminded of the woven heart that you taught us and thinking, ooh, I can weave this butterfly.
Yeah.
And
Right. I thought of that too.
yeah,
You could weave through the sections. Um, yes, I don't know if you saw the samples, Linda, of the sculptural. This could potentially be a lantern, by adding an extra panel. But yes, it's mainly just a sculptural object. It could be a card. You could fold it and send it, as a card tucked into something else. Or I showed um, this one that could sit as a card but collapses flat for sending. But I think, and a mobile, you could hang it as a mobile. So, but I look forward to seeing what other people end up sharing. And again, share on Instagram. And we've got about 5 minutes left. So why don't we
there's a
all,
question.
okay.
There's a question from Emily Bruffel, and I'm not positive what she's asking. She says, I use paper. Will you accept paper in the mail for the workshops each month? I'm not 100% certain what she's asking or offering.
Cash, check.
For the curated
Ah,
paper collection?
Yeah.
Is that what? Yeah, I have a shopping cart on my website. So you can purchase it with a credit card. And if you really want to pay by check, we can work that out.
Okay, thank you.
Hmm. Okay, I'd love
Um,
to see, we can still do questions for a few minutes, but let's hold up because people are starting to leave. Hold up your butterflies. And can you take a few screenshots, Lori? Or should I do that? Or with your phone even?
let me do, wait. Uh, okay.
Beautiful. Look at those papers. And type into the chat what paper you used for the project. I'm going to scroll through and see. Hey, they look great. Okay.
Yeah,
Yay.
we can't see them.
If you
If
look
you
at
go to
gallery
gallery
view,
view,
go to gallery view in your top right under view, click on gallery view and you'll see them all. And you can scroll through, there's about 7 screens on the right. In the middle, there's a little toggle switch. So cool. So yeah, if you're,
but
you can
to
turn
show
your
your,
video on. Turn your video on
to
too.
show,
Beautiful. Okay, someone used construction paper. Someone used her own marbled paper, paste paper, waste paper on watercolor, Madeline Durham's paper, a magazine. So it's fun to cut up imagery. So a magazine page, you would kind of distort the image, which is cool. A cyanotype, computer paper, Abaca, wonderful. Yay. Look at these beauties. Yeah, I can hear the camera clicking. Ooh, the cyanotype.
Yeah.
Susanna, I see that. Beautiful. Yay. So fun. Thank you, everyone. Okay, what other questions? Any other questions? Just looking. Okay, I think I'm caught up on the questions. So again, post on Instagram and tag me, Helen Hebert, and I hope to see you in the paper year or in the future in another workshop. I did put some different ways you can work with me for free, or not work with me, but I have a blog called The Sunday Paper. That's a link. You can subscribe and get information about, I always post about what other artists are doing with paper every Sunday. And then I have a group or a thing called the Paper Advisor. If you go to my website, or the link is there too, where people ask me questions about paper, and there are a bunch of resources, links to videos I've made, lots of paper tips. And yeah, I mentioned this before, but I have a Facebook group called the Paper Studio. So thanks so much, everyone, for coming. And we'll
Helen,
see you around. Yeah.
I have a serious question for you.
Okay.
Between your Facebook group, your Sunday blog, your demos like this, how do you get time to do your own art?
Well, I mean, this is a big part of my business, and I have to make a living. So
I know.
this is what I spend a good chunk of my time on. And my artwork is, I make artist books, and I have time, and I sleep. I
Okay.
sleep at least 8 hours a night. I think,
Good.
I'm
Good.
passionate about what I do, so it's not a struggle. It all just kind of goes along. I mean, it's not like I love everything. I don't like bookkeeping. But I do hire a few people to help with certain things like that. Yeah, so
Well, I think we're all in awe of what you do and how you clearly manage your time,
thank you.
besides along
Thank
with
you.
the art. It's very impressive.
And we
Yeah.
can find everything on your website, Helen Hebert,
Helen
like the Sunday
Hebert.
papers and everything.
Yeah, and there's a link in there's a bunch of links. If you just look at all of those, the Sunday paper link is there. They're all spelled out in the chat. And I'll be sending an email. I'll put those links in there too. So you'll have the recording. Yeah. So sweet. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you, Helen.
Thank you very much, Helen.
You're welcome.